Guys, you know what? I gotta stop saying guys because we have ladies that watch the show. Hey, everyone, we're
People.
back again because Malik was saying some wild shit. And Malik is back, guys. Welcome Malik back. It's Manny. Well, welcome to the Will Ray Show. Um, Before we even start, I'm just gonna say the reason why we haven't done any shows in a couple of days or weeks per se. The temperature of the nation just didn't warrant for it. Really, we had some family issues as well, lives, but mainly because of that. And it's just really hard to not talk about it. And at the time, I just didn't want to have anything stumble upon, whether it's right or wrong, how you feel. Our country is in, I don't want to say turmoil, but it's something that it can't be ignored anymore. Hopefully soon we'll have some type of resolution and we get back on track. But other than that, today's show is basically going to be short and fast. We're going to get some laughs in. We're going to talk a little bit about Deadpool preview and Wolverine, what that could make. Is it really, really good? Will it be really good? A little bit of Marvel. The Olympics has started. And we'll finish up with the AFC South with the other two teams. Guys.
Made all of this money this week. Yeah. Shit look amazing to me. Yeah.
I feel like every other couple minutes I'll just randomly say freedom of speech. So when someone goes and like, why were they talking about freedom of speech?
And somebody in the comments will be like, why are you talking about freedom of speech? And we'll just say, okay. Anyway, Deadpool and Wolverine is tracking to make, a gazillion dollars, but realistically it's tracking to make $360 million in opening week. One of the biggest opening weekends for a rated R movie and comic book movie of all time. Now, this has been a movie that everybody's been clamoring for since we've seen Wolverine Origins when they botched Deadpool the first time. It's actually the real deal. The new trailer just came out. We know that we're getting X-23 back with amongst other rumors. So right now, what we're going to really talk about is how realistic that $360 million is.
You know, it would be more too if we counted the people who are like illegally streaming it too.
It would,
how much.
Well, it can't be shown in certain nations. I'm pretty sure. I want to say Korea, but I might be wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I know in certain nations you can't really watch it. Not when it first comes out.
China, right? I think China.
No, I think China might be, but I can't.
They're very big on the. I don't think so because of the censorship.
But they're only. Certain nations are really big on censorship if it pertains to something that
it's Deadpool.
Dumb. But Deadpool doesn't say, to any nation, this is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, we hate that type of rhetoric for them. So, but Malik, give me what's your realistic number for it. Can it hit this $365 million opening weekend, or is it more or less a pipe dream, or is it right on the mark?
No, I think it's good. From the trailer, it looks good. I'll actually go see it.
So wait, how does it work? Is it based off just movie ticket sales?
All right, so let
me or like snacks too?
Well, no, the snacks is for the theater. So whatever you spend on the theater is the theater's money, but the tickets.
So it's just tickets, really.
So basically, it's domestically of what they're going to be making in the United States.
Yeah, like it's basically how many seats are going to go out.
Yes, and from Thursday to Sunday.
There's going to be a lot of seats that actually go out and actually see it. Summertime, kids out of school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Friday night, you got your kids, or Saturday night. Somebody gonna say they little.
That's if you can get tickets, though.
Look,
you gotta be able to get tickets.
It's not that hard to get.
It's not hard to get, but it's.
And you got everything now with Fandango. You got deals and stuff. So
of course.
It's not gonna be that hard.
Well, look,
we're gonna make $300 million. They can get
$300 million basically is what they sleep. Before we even finish, I'll ask y'all, what's a realistic number for it. But Manny, like, I know we're gonna go probably see it sometime this weekend. Might not be Saturday, could be Sunday, depending on that stuff. you're never around, so I don't want to hear it. But when we go see it,
you got your sources to watch it anyway.
I'm expecting.
Why aren't you inviting us over to watch it?
I know. Whatever. What are you really expecting? Is there any type of special cameos that you're willing to be surprised about? I know a lot of people are upset because X-23 was spoiled, but to me, them showing X-23 and all the other little cameos of Sabretooth and Toad and everything like that shows that they will probably be in it more than what we expect.
I agree. Shouldn't have it spoiled.
Yeah.
I think you're just giving away too much now of the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just the fact of how long we've been waiting for this movie to give us all of those details without letting us really watch it.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes like the I know I've talked about this before, but the Spideyverse movies with like Miles Morales. That's why I like them so much because they really don't spoil those small details that you don't know about. Like only now, if you go back and watch it, you'll see like people talking about like, oh look, if you look at like this part at this time, this was like a different Miles Morales from a different time. No one knew that. No. I just think showing, especially on how long we've been waiting for this movie, I think it's just the fact that it shouldn't have been spoiled.
Yes, but
also Deadpool and Hugh Jackman, they could have probably made one trailer and they would have been good.
It would have been sold 100%, but that's not.
Just the two names right there themselves, whether the movie was going to be good or bad, everyone was going to go see it no matter what. You might as well just let us see the rest of it without being spoiled, and then you'll get everyone's honest opinion off the bat instead of a whole.
Well, that's what I mean by. Usually, when you get a trailer, right, they show you the first trailer is a teaser to get you hyped for it. Then the second trailer is supposed to tell you the story. This last trailer basically didn't tell us anything new. It just showed us who else was going to be in the movie. Now, to me, the Sabretooth and all the other villains, that's icing on the cake. Them showing X-23 tells me either one or two things. She's going to play a pivotal role in the movie, which is good, or she's basically going to be in that one scene and then she's gone. And if they did that, then yes, I agree. They ruined that. But I don't think they would because you're not going to bring her back, have X-23 and
but like
in the movie.
How much screen time are you wanting though? She's not going to be. There's no way she's going to be in the movie from the beginning to maybe the halfway point. Probably.
She'll probably be in the halfway point, 100%. But
that's my thing. How much screen time are you thinking? How much screen time of her? I mean, of X-23. How much screen time would you feel satisfied compared to if they didn't show you?
If they didn't show me,
and they only showed them for like maybe 5 minutes, you feel a lot cooler and a lot better knowing that you didn't know you saw them for 5 minutes. But now, if you go to it now and she's only in it for one scene, you're like, why would they spoil that?
Then? I could see it.
You would just sit there and be like, it wasn't necessary if she wasn't going to be in the movie for that long.
It could be a setup. Well, because see now. With this movie, and I think a lot of people are going to be upset with it. A lot of people could be happy with it. The cameos that are expected in this movie, excuse me, guys, are tremendously ridiculous. You've got anywhere from supposedly Blade is going to be in it to Taylor Swift or whoever Lady Deadpool is going to be.
I did see
Thorn, Cyclops. So basically, guys, just tell me. What are you expecting to be? Who are you expecting to be in this movie, other than what you've seen so far?
Honestly, I want to go into this movie because I know what I'm getting from Deadpool every time, and it's like I know what I'm getting. We get good movies, good laughs, but I know it's gonna be twisted.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking for the twist. I'm gonna just watch the movie with no expectation. Like you tell me that you took me before, because you go in with the previous movies in mind, you're gonna be like that. I'm just gonna go in. And accept the movie.
That's true.
Back to what you were saying. The only reason I can't see the movie like that is because I forget where I saw it. I think it was a tweet or Ryan Reynolds said it himself. He said that this movie is going to change the way everyone sees Marvel from now on.
Supposedly it's like not a hard reboot, but it's like a resetting of the multiverse.
It's a soft reset.
Yes.
It's a soft reset. But the fact that they said it, I forget who said it, but it was a credible source.
I think it was Ryan Reynolds.
I think it was Ryan
and
Reynolds,
it might
or
have
it might
been
have
Kevin Feige.
yeah. But they themselves said that this will change the universe of Marvel, whether it's good or bad. We're gonna have to see. So the only reason I can't say the expectations, I have the expectations of this better be what you're making it sound like. If not, even though you're just pulling us along, all of this meant
it was nothing.
Yeah,
for nothing.
but my thing is just X-Men be an official thing.
I think
I don't consider Hugh Jackman X-Men by himself just because this isn't an X-Men movie. It has something to do with X-Men as far as we know. It's just Wolverine and Deadpool.
Now, with that being said, he has been talking with Kevin Feige to be in more movies. It might not be in the main universe, but Secret Wars is coming up, and I'm pretty sure, and it's almost a lock, that he will, as well as X-23, will be in Secret Wars, because this is supposed to be as big, if not bigger, than Endgame and Infinity War put together.
I think it was Kevin, now that I think about it, because I remember the tweet said if Infinity War was a 9 and Endgame was a 10, then Deadpool vs. Wolverine is going to be a 13 out of 10 because it's going to change the outcome.
The outcome of everything that we've known so far. With that being said, what's your final predictions for this weekend? What's the final number that you're going to say? Not the overall, because we know it's going to hit $1 billion. Yeah, ticket sales and box office just for this weekend from Thursday to Sunday. From Monday morning, what we going to see? 250, which is still one of the biggest things. That's almost, I think it might be on par from what you're saying, your number, with Spider-Man Homecoming or No Way Home.
I think whatever the record is right now might be beaten. That's what I think.
You think it will be broken?
Yeah.
What's the final number?
Whatever the record. I don't know.
Anything that's in the 300s is pretty much the record. So you think it's going to hit its mark?
How much did you say?
You said 250.
250? Oh no,
You thinking more?
I'm probably at 4.
4? You think 4? Shattering it?
I think so. Yeah. Just based on the hype we've gotten, and also based on the fact that like the last couple Marvel movies haven't been that good.
Okay.
Coming into the fact that knowing that Deadpool, like Malik said, you know we're gonna get it from Deadpool. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be a good twist.
Yes.
People knowing that's their good scheme, adding Hugh Jackman and whatever else is gonna come is only gonna elevate it. So in my opinion, yeah, if considering people are gonna look at the old Marvel movies and be like, they weren't as good. So this one is probably going to be what everyone's been waiting for. So yeah, I think it's either going to shatter it or it's going to break the record.
I'm going to go a little team because I think it all hinges on Thursday and Friday. If people that watched it Thursday and Friday liked it, loved it, or wants to see it again, they'll come and see it again Saturday and Sunday. I think you're going to get a lot of rewatchers from those 4 days. If you see it on Thursday and you really liked it, 9 times out of 10, if you got the funds, and even if you don't got the funds, you're going to try to figure out to watch it again, at least on Saturday or Sunday, to see everything that you missed. So I'll say, just to even out, I think it will probably hit $285 million, which was still great. And it's basically in that range of number 1, and I think it beats Spider-Man, and I think it might even beat, there might be another movie. Might have been Avatar, but I'm not 100% sure. I know they'll beat Spider-Man, which is pretty crazy to think because Spider-Man was ridiculous to try to get tickets for. So with that said, guys, give us your thoughts. Give us your prediction. And if you've seen the movie, we'll see it. And then on the next show, I'm giving you the heads up right now. We are going to do spoiler review of it. So be aware of that. Y'all know this now. Good, bad, or indifferent. Next time you see us, we're going to be talking about it, and we're going to be giving out some spoilers. So give us your thoughts. So in transition to that, Comic-Con is this week, and we've heard a lot of rumors of what could possibly go down with Marvel and what they could be exposing. They've been some rumors of Kevin Feige confirming that this next saga is the X-Men saga. is the mutant era. Is that something that you're going to get fully supported? Kevin Feige coming out, especially knowing that they have Hall H this year, or is it something else? Could we finally get the X-Men cast of it, or X-Men, or at least the movie setups? So, what are you expecting from Marvel from Comic-Con?
Yeah, I think I actually got X-Men.
Yeah.
Push that more, but you're not going to. I don't think you're going to steer too much away from it. Bread and butter said.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm not going to just put X-Men in front of everybody, but he knows that X-Men does put a lot of people in the seats to watch the movie.
Yes.
So people that grew up, being kids, X-Men comic books, all that type of stuff. So to bring it back and put your own twist on it and do it different from Fox, yeah, he's going to try to push them, not further, but yeah, I'm going to push them, but not like above their Avengers, because at any given moment, I bring back Iron Man.
Which you say that, and there's been rumors about what Robert Downey Jr. character could be in this new era. But what's another thing, Manny, that you could possibly hear from these announcements from Comic-Con? Because Marvel and Kevin Feige, they do it big, knowing that they also have celebrations also, which will probably be something on top of it. So what are some of the experts? I know we talked about it before, but it's here now. What's like concrete that you're like, yeah, we're definitely getting that?
Probably the X-Men movie names.
Probably.
Like what they're gonna do, like what their line is. I feel like that's always their like bread and butter at Comic-Con. Or at least whenever they do like their whole movie reveals, it's always, this is the 10-year plan, guys.
This is the 10-year plan.
I feel like it's probably gonna be another one of those, maybe a 5-year plan or something like that, but like they'll give us their plans with the names. I don't think they'll pick any names out, maybe for like 3 major ones that everyone's been asking for. Probably that's about it. Like they might give us Professor X. Like maybe just give us 3 big names, so we're like, all right, big star name. We'll see where it goes from there. If they decided to do like a Dark Phoenix movie, and they were like, hey, this is going to be Jean Grey, people would be like, all right, that's probably a good role right there.
Well, you say that. Let me ask you this, Malik, and then I'm gonna head it back to you. Would you expect them to do? I know a lot of people think, all right, they're going to do a whole new cast, but what we just talked about with Deadpool and Wolverine, a lot of people are comfortable with the original cast. Now, granted, the original cast are pretty seasoned, but you could go that other cast of the First Class. But could you bring them back into the fold and say, yo, we're going to do a Storm with, I can't think of her name all of a sudden, but no, not Halle Berry. But you could bring back Halle Berry as an older.
I don't think you could, only because I feel like Deadpool, like that Hugh Jackman era, is kind of for like the people who grew up with the first X-Men movies that came out.
Yeah,
I think it will be a whole new cast.
Well, that's why I said if it's a new cast, that's something that you could wait until Celebrations.
Because I feel like they're going to just pick people who are younger that most likely, will have a good track record starting now. Compared to like bringing a bunch of the old cast.
Well, that's why I say, remember in X-Men Apocalypse and X-Men First Class, that cast of those X-Men, they're actually in that range where you could bring them over. We know them already. There's not that much difference. And you could plop them in and keep Hugh Jackman still in the fold for these, quote unquote, there's rumors at the moment that you could get a Wolverine versus Hulk or Wolverine versus Thor, like those animated movies. Is that something plausible that you could think that they could possibly be announcing here or at Celebration?
I think that you could very actually get, they're using Wolverine and Deadpool. They gotta borrow from the past. You gotta take some stuff from the past. And you got to into the future. But you can't just like flip everything around without acknowledging that. Because the past is what got you where you're at right now.
That's why I said.
But the past wasn't theirs.
No, it wasn't. But that's why.
Because it was Fox.
That's
what I mean. So like.
That's true.
Do they own it? I thought
they own it.
Did
they bought Fox. That's a long time ago.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Sony and Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I'm Sony.
Spider-Man, that's still in the works.
Yeah.
But that's why I said instead of coming out with a whole brand new cast, which you could still possibly do, but I don't think you want to try to do that, especially if you have. Let's just say Deadpool and Wolverine does break countless records. Why would you bring in a new Wolverine? Automatically is what I'm saying. Why not do that cast of X-Men from First Class, Days of Future Past, I believe, and Apocalypse? Those original, that original core with Sophia Jonas, or I can't think of her name right now, but the girl from Game of Thrones and all that original cast and stuff like that. Bring them over, right? Bring them over. Still Logan is Logan, but he's off doing other things.
I don't think that would work, only because like, all right. So with the current Hugh Jackman and his Wolverine right now, is like, how do you plug him in at any point involving the Hulk?
Well, that's too semantic-y for me right now.
But that's what I'm. So my point is though, let's say that we all know like strikes can happen.
Oh wait, before you even go, and it just clicked to me. Remember, Fantastic Four, this movie, and what they've said so far, and Kevin Feige's confirmed it, and I think they'll probably confirm it again at Comic-Con. They're in a totally different universe in the 1960s. And because of, they fight Galactus and all this other stuff, they're going to get transferred from their universe into whatever the current Marvel universe will be. They've confirmed that. You can do that.
If you want to go that route, that would. But that still doesn't give the whole backstory with Logan and the Hulk, though.
Yes.
That completely because if we're talking about like the animated movies or the comic books, well, they had a whole story though. Yeah. Like they knew who each other was.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna, let's just say with the current style, it's gonna be a plug and play. Mm-hmm. Then that history between Logan and the Hulk, there's nothing there. So their fight would mean nothing. So in my opinion, yeah, you couldn't do it because let's say that in 10 years is when we get the Wolverine versus Hulk fight. Hugh Jackman might not want to be Wolverine in 10 years.
I don't think it would be in 10 years that you would do that because the iron would be
hot. But that's my point. Though. You really couldn't put a Hulk versus Wolverine movie that soon with all the stuff we have yet to know.
Well, you could in a sense of this. And then we'll move on.
If you're going to have like an X-Men versus Avengers, okay.
I think that's happening.
That's fine, but then that means you were the X-Men we got to get. They all have to be adults. So it has to be a new class.
Well, that's why I said, well, no, not necessarily. Because, see, these guys from those originals of those, well, no, the original cast from that little span with James McAvoy and all those, and they've been in Deadpool as well. Those guys, I don't know how they're going to do it. I think it will probably be in Deadpool that we'll see how they'll probably attempt to do it. But because of the whole Marvel multiverse thing, it'll be mushy.
But that's what I'm saying. There's just too many plot holes that are going to happen for us to get that with Hugh Jackman.
But remember, we haven't seen or heard of, we've heard confirmation from Ms. Marvel and others that mutants do exist. But what they could do is, okay, now all these mutants are here. They could see them as a threat to lead to X-Men versus Avengers. In the midst of that, the most dangerous and most popular mutant is Wolverine. So you need the two most powerful Avengers, which would be Hulk and Thor. And that's where you get your verses at. Instead of doing a whole movie and backstory that we know as comic book fans and as anime fans to watch that, it would make more sense to just say, all right, we thought that guy is a bad guy, so we got to fight him. It could be totally botched.
But then what X-Men class are you bringing in? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying like you can't use any of the old class.
No, you can't use
and bring them to the Avengers because there's just too many holes.
So
my point is that but that's what I'm trying to say. You would need a whole new X-Men cast.
Well, not necessarily. The X-Men first class with Sophia, with I can't think of the girl's name. You got a black girl, Storm. Yeah, the young girl. I can't think of her name. She played the lead. She did all this other stuff, right? But that cast from Apocalypse, you could bring that because they're in that age range where you can keep them in for about 10 to 15 years. Instead of getting, saying, oh, Zendaya has to play.
But the only issue, though,
like that.
Is the fact that none of them knew Logan.
Who? Except for, remember, in I believe it was Apocalypse.
He went back and
They was there. Remember that crew? I think it was Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and Jean, and it might have been Jubilee as well. I'm not 100% sure because that movie was blocked. They weren't there, and then they released him as Weapon X. So there would be continuity there if they brought that.
But no, what I'm trying to say is though, the person who plays Professor X has to be older than Logan. Yes. You can't say no. Professor X and Magneto are older by a lot than Logan.
I see, and this is where, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this. That will probably be the only recast of what you've said, or no, you said that they will probably announce Professor X and Magneto.
But that's what I'm trying to say though is all of the people who were in that first class movie have to be older than Logan.
Not necessarily.
But if they're all in the same age range, even in the movie, they were all among the same age range.
And this is why I say not necessarily, because see, you have a trump card,
which is
X-23, because see, you can do something where you can just Logan out real quick, just roll them out.
So my point though was that Wolverine and the Hulk couldn't be a thing then.
No, not necessarily. It can, but it's convoluted until we see what happens with Deadpool.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, well, I'm just answering the question you said. Yeah. I just don't see them being able to use any of the old class into the new Avengers stuff. I'm not saying no. I understand that part. I'm just saying is like,
you trying to see how that's going to make sense.
Yeah, because like in an Apocalypse, Professor X is, let's just go 25. Logan's
I'll give him a little bit older. He's in that early 30s, but Logan at that
maybe
time
30
is 100 years older.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackman's
but
in his 40s.
In the first X-Men movie, Professor X is an old guy.
Is an old man, and Logan.
So like you can't just grab that group and put them in here with this new age Logan that's older than all of them, when the whole time Professor X has been older than Logan.
Yeah, in terms of comics and stuff like that. But again, this is why I say it can get very, very convoluted.
Unless they decided to rank on it all.
With this, it can get really messy.
But they still got to follow a lot of their comic book stuff.
They do, as long as it makes sense in the sense of.
But that's what I'm saying.
Why?
That's why I think if we bring in this Logan, the only way I think this can work is if Hugh Jackman is not in any of the X-Men versus Avenger movies, and it's X-23. That's fine. We could do it that way. But if we're gonna take Hugh Jackman and a new class into the Avengers, it wouldn't work.
Well, that Apocalypse class is the only way it would work to me, because at least the three know who he is. He doesn't have to be necessarily in the X-Men.
Yeah, okay, which is fine. But that's what I'm saying is like you couldn't get the Hulk versus them without enough explanation.
So basically, what you're saying is you would rather have a total reboot.
Yeah, you might as well give us a whole reboot.
Just trying to
because like Malik said, they can find a way, but that's the issue though. What if they try to find a way, but the way isn't? Yeah, but that always messes up for them. They've even said it themselves that anytime a new timeline branches out, it creates a new timeline. So meaning that is its own time.
People will watch it.
But the problem is though right now is that they're trying to retcon all of that by fixing the timeline.
And that's why some of the movies haven't been good. But that's that's a good thing. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get some answers at.
I like what they're doing. They're creating the confusion and the timeline to fix the timeline.
But that's and what's so freaking crazy? That's Marvel and that's X-Men, because it's so many different timelines and so in the comics. But
X-Men really only ever had one timeline. It's only the real life action movies that took it to different timelines.
No, true, but no, I'm talking in comics, strictly comics, because see.
If we're going by strictly comics, then I think I'm right. We would need a whole new class.
Probably.
We couldn't use the same Professor X only because of age difference.
I still think those two, Professor X and Magneto,
or they might just give us a new Wolverine. It might be a thing. You got to think about it. The only way that, let's say, Hugh Jackman, Logan still works in Avengers is if that's a different Wolverine.
Well, in Deadpool and Wolverine, he is that Logan in the movie Logan, where we get to, where he first meets X-23. Supposedly, that's the journey of it, supposedly.
So that's what I'm saying. The only way he would work in the Avengers timeline would be if that Wolverine is going to be a complete Wolverine from the one they're going to bring us with the X-Men. But that's the only way it could work. You can't have two Jackmans in two different timelines with too many plot holes in its own self.
You can, but I don't know. I understand exactly what you're saying, because it would be like, it would be. But that's the whole point of why sometimes it's just best to cut bait and just go a different route. But I don't think, but because of this movie, and because when he finished Logan, I was done. And then Ryan pulled his ass back and he said, you know what, I might be good for a few more. So that's why I'm more or less skeptical. Yeah.
That's also like, if he says a couple more, let's say that he's probably saying 4 more movies.
Yeah, he's doing
at
4.
best, that might be 1 Infinity War.
You mean Secret Wars?
Secret Wars? Maybe 2 Secret Wars?
Secret Wars is done. I think he's doing that.
But let's say that, what other movies would he be doing? Could there be another Deadpool and Wolverine movie?
Yes.
Or would it be another X-Men movie?
I think you would get both.
Because then my thing would be...
But you know what? Oh, excuse me, guys. On the topic of them in Comic-Con, that's something that we might get an announcement of. That he's coming back to do.
I don't know if you guys saw this real quick. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman were in a K-pop video. K-pop.
Yes.
You know what K-pop is? Korean.
It's Korean pop.
Ryan Reynolds in an interview said that Marvel didn't know that they were both doing that in costume.
Oh my god!
They didn't even know that they were going to do the music video. They found out when the music video was published that they took their costumes of Deadpool and Hugh Jackman to that Korean music video, and it came out that day.
Oh my goodness! But look,
no. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman can do that.
That's true. I mean, because they're pretty much, their marketing is just great anyway. But guys,
it's not even marketing; it's just who they are.
It is who they are, because they're just awesome.
That's Ryan Reynolds. If you tell Ryan Reynolds not to do that, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna do it worse now."
What do y'all think what's going to happen at Comic-Con? Give us some of your thoughts. Even if you have seen it by the time you've seen this video, give us your your spoilers.
Unless you're Malik, and you watch it Wednesday.
Yeah,
don't text the group chat.
Yeah. So
LeBron knows, bro.
Not only is Comic-Con happening this weekend, the Olympics is finally here. It's finally here, guys. We're done seeing all the exposition and stuff and all the trials and stuff like that. Malik, what is something besides, before we get into the key events and everything like that,
like water polo?
The ceremony is Friday. By the time this video comes out, it will already be past. Supposedly they're doing a beachfront ceremony, which has never been done before in the history of the Olympics, in Paris, which will probably be fabulous. I know since I've been able to watch TV since '92, the opening ceremonies have been great. It's been almost something to be enjoyed. China.
What did you say?
Wasn't it 2008 they were in China? That opening ceremony is great.
What was the
You
year?
guys like the opening ceremonies?
No, I was like 92. That was when they had it in Atlanta, right?
No, that was 96. 92 was in Croatia, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I didn't watch it live. I watched it on tape because my dad taped it and I had to watch it. Because in 96, I watched.
I barely watched the open ceremonies. I didn't care enough about the Olympics.
I know. Because it's just, it depends on the area. Because I think, where were they at in 2021? I can't think of where they were at. Were they in Australia?
2021?
Yeah, because remember they
Did they
delayed
have
it in 2020. They delayed it in 2020 because of COVID. They didn't want to do it.
That messed me up.
But see, that's why I think people forgotten about it, because it's like, it was in 2021. Nobody really cared. It was COVID. That's why I think this year's opening ceremony is going to be something spectacular, because it's back on schedule.
I don't know. You know, Prince. From what I know, just from watching about soccer and on Twitter, Paris has some dirty ass water.
Oh my goodness.
Huh?
X. It's X. It's called X.
Well, I'm going off that. YouTubers.
So with the ceremony, because Snoop Dogg has been
the news.
He's holding the ceremonial flame he's bringing it. He's not going to be the last one, but he did it. His
You ever
Ryan,
heard the play?
he did it already. I think by the time this video comes out, he's already done his turn. So he's already handed it off to the next person. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to in the Olympics this year, besides basketball? Because we're going to talk a little bit about the basketball team. But besides the basketball, what's some of the events you're looking forward to?
Well, I like watching the Olympics and different stuff instead of the main stuff that watch basketball.
Like
Swimming, cycling, badminton.
you watch no cycling.
I do watch cycling.
There's no way you watch the
I don't think
cycling.
No, I you know what it is? I watch it. I don't watch it for the cycling aspect. I watch it because it's the Olympics.
Nah.
I don't care who really wins. I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm rooting for America to win any American, but I understand what you're talking about. What else?
And I think these other countries want to really surprise the U.S. Did you not see South Sudan keep up with the U.S.
in basketball?
And they don't.
Now, speaking of that, real quick, I just want quick. You think they were trying?
No,
they weren't trying.
No, I don't think they were trying.
Okay, they're not trying, but do you not see that the U.S. the NBA is ran by who? Overseas people.
Well, because most of their top players are from other countries.
Exactly.
Yes,
and they pride their country more than anything else. So they're playing with something different. Same thing with Jokic and all them. Jokic don't give a fuck about the NBA for real. No. But when he plays for Serbia, it's different.
Well, yeah, true, because that's his home team. Yeah, it's a prideful thing.
It's like.
But before we get into the basketball aspects, like what other events are you looking for? Because again, we will be talking about the basketball.
And you know how everybody be so hyped about the gymnasts and all that stuff. USA getting blown out in gymnastics.
You think they're going to get blown out in gymnastics?
They're going to get surprised out of their ass.
By the time I'm going to let y'all know this now. By the Olympics are over, probably by mid-August. Or it's 2 weeks. So about like in 2 weeks. Maybe a week after the Olympics is over, we'll put up the screen of who won the most gold and stuff, and we'll give our thoughts on that. So, Manny, what's some of the events other than main events that you're looking forward to? Because you say you're not really into the Olympics, but you watch it from time to time.
Probably fencing.
Fencing is actually
cool.
Really interesting.
It's really cool. I like the strategy. I don't know if you guys heard. You heard what's going to become an Olympic sport?
Football.
Esports
as well.
Esports just got voted. I heard that the voting wasn't even close. It was like a landslide, and yes, making a real sport.
Yes.
I mean, what's the way?
Well, because it's everywhere. So.
I like the what's it called?
Now, is the e-gaming this year or will it be in the next?
It's probably gonna be next year because it just got approved this week.
Same thing with football. I think football. Now, I think they might do flag football. I don't think they'll do football. But I think
it's too hard to do football only because, to be fair, NFL is mainly ran by Americans, not any really.
Well, they've been venturing out, mainly in Africa and
Australia,
which
is right. But like, look at the players that are being branched out from those. It's not like not to be mean, but none of them. No, not even that. None of them are really like star wide receivers or like star quarterbacks. Like most of them are defensive or O line. You know, it's hard to make that a flag football team.
Give them time, yes.
Give them time.
But I mean, nowadays it's probably going to be a bit. Probably in the next 15 years, we'll probably start seeing.
But main football maybe after flag football maybe. It could be 10 years. No, I think 10 years.
No. I'm saying 15. I'm saying 10 for the rest of the world to really start like catching up and really implementing it as a thing in their own schools. 5 years for the results to start being shown slowly.
Yes.
That's why I say 15. Only because you got to remember, most of these kids growing up right now in like European or African, Asian countries,
soccer.
It's not even that. It's like most of their football programs are so poor and cheap that even in the next 10 years, when they get the best facilities and get to improve, they're still not going to be.
Which is crazy because they just did a 17 and under Olympics. And in football, America lost to Japan.
But that's
17-year-old.
I understand that, but the only issue though is that you got to remember the reason it's easier for soccer players and basketball players, in my opinion, to be good here, it's because all you really need is a ball. Well, in football, there's more equipment that needs to be bought for it.
Yes, that's true.
You need the pads, you need the helmets, you need that stuff
Yes.
as a kid.
Man, I'm used to playing.
That
Yes.
But look, are you in the NFL?
No, I said.
But that's what I'm saying.
Not NFL, but if I had a chance, I know how to turn it up.
No,
but
I understand what you're saying.
you would still need the equipment.
For those kids, you got to think.
The basics. Them Florida boys, them wide receivers in Florida, they footwork.
Yeah, but that's a breeding ground.
You got the basics and you got heart. That's gonna beat talent.
Tell me outside of Africa, say Croatia, who's playing football, like actual American football.
Say, give them time.
But that's why he's saying.
But that's exactly what I'm saying.
They want to pick it up.
Oh, it's getting introduced.
That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is they still need the equipment.
They need.
But in soccer, you don't need equipment besides a ball. Not even a ball. Most kids play with plastic. That's what I'm saying. It's easier for them with the hunger. You're right. They had hunger, but it's easier to have the hunger in soccer because all you need is a ball or a round shape. While in football, you need a little bit more equipment.
Even if you need the basics, who finds a football in Croatia? No, but in Croatia,
the shoulder pass, bat, they don't wear the knee, all this other stuff.
But you got to remember that's still more expensive than a soccer ball.
That is true.
That's what I'm trying to say. I think you're right that you could be right that sooner or later it'll be much. But the issue though is that they need the facilities because they need the equipment.
They don't need facilities. I'm saying like they're going to make a way and make some makeshift stuff to come up with it and just make it as good. But
you see how you just said earlier, you know how to play rough touch and street. Because you can find a football. Somebody has a football. Man, but in Ukraine, well, not in Ukraine. We're not going to say in Ukraine. We're going to say
in Italy. You probably won't find a football. But that's what we're trying to say, though.
But if you find that one field where everybody go at, sooner or later.
9 times out of 10, though, overseas, it's soccer, not football. It's not football.
But that's what we're trying to say, though, is that the reason we have a bigger timeline. It's because of the time and resources they need.
And if you give them a chance and give them a chance to catch up, they're going to supersede.
Well, that's the whole point.
That's what we're saying. Yeah, we agree with you.
That's what the NFL is trying to do because, see, what the NFL, and we'll get back onto the Olympics in just a second after I make this point, have been branching out because they want that notoriety. Because you understand the type of funds that you will get if a Britain, a France, Africa, a Japan, a China, a Russia says, you know what, we want a football team in here because you see and you know because you watch soccer the type of funds that a billionaire would probably make to make that a football team in the league and say, yo, we're going to compete against this and this and this.
Talking about that, Madrid, the biggest team in soccer right now, is the first team today was just announced to have revenue of $1 billion.
Yes.
With no debt. Like, it was all just profit. It was 27% more than last year. Yeah.
One of them, yes. So we're going
to like in 1 year aspect, they hit $1 billion.
So we're just to get back onto
but like what you were saying though is like if bad example is that like if Madrid wanted to make a football team, they have and they know the funds they'll make because of the field. The field they already have is a field that's known. Like right now, Carol G sold out. There's so many people that have been selling out that stadium that if they wanted to make a football team to make it work, they could because they know the money that they would make back because of the NFL just using that football stadium or the stadium. They would make so much money back. But yeah.
So we're going to go back to the Olympics because we were on that a little bit too long. But that's a nice little thoughts from y'all.
I do also want to say karate. I enjoy karate. Or I guess it's judo? Is it technically judo?
They do taekwondo, jiu-jitsu. I don't know. I think they might do karate this year. It could be. It's not as big.
I'm not big on track and field stuff, really.
That's usually the last events.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, hopefully Richardson does her thing. Hopefully she gets a medal. I don't care what kind. But, so we're going to talk real quick about the men's Olympic team because I know you had some issues with it.
What?
The Olympics basketball team.
You had issues with the team?
They should let Jalen Brown.
Okay.
Over who?
Over Derek White?
All right, no, yeah, I'm not saying I disagree.
I think they're gonna get surprised. It's like the only one that's really hungry on that team is Anthony Edwards from the looks of it.
Because he's
the only
awesome.
one that's really like hungry. I think they could get shot. I think they could get shot.
By who?
It's gonna be somebody that we need to expect.
I don't see there's only one team that I could think of that could shock them.
Maybe. I like France.
It's France. That's the only team.
I feel like France is good, but I feel like you gotta give it to Spain.
Who do you have Spain on there?
Hello.
They just can't pay me enough.
Can't pay you. Really?
Huh? They don't have roles. I think you're talking about Longhorn has like a. You have a long.
Ignorant.
I think you're kind of disrespecting the Spain team a bit. Spain's team's known for being also Greek. Greek has a really good team.
We can't make predictions because
you gotta also remember, like, you gotta remember that every team that's in the Olympics right now, their team has been to the Olympics multiple times.
They've been together longer. Yes.
I'm not discrediting the USA team. They have the superstars in this case, but it doesn't mean the chemistry is gonna matter when it matters the most.
What? Yes, they've been playing longer.
Kids together. This USA group out the best one. Y'all go out there, y'all hoop.
I will say this though.
Now everybody in the league want to be friendly and shit.
In my opinion, soccer does the Olympics way better than basketball.
They do.
And you know how they're
World Cup goes.
no, like how the Olympics, how soccer does the Olympics. The way they do it, which I prefer more, it's your team has to be made up of only youth players, but you can bring in 3 or I think it's 4 veterans of any age. I feel like that should be the way it should be done.
They won't do that though.
No, I know they won't, but like this is the issue that you have when it comes to basketball. It's like you to be fair, you really do have the dream team.
They're aging out.
Well,
no.
It's not that. It's more or less like this. Because see, what soccer usually does is, and what the NBA has done this year, which was kind of a facade, but it didn't work. They'll have those exposition games right before the Olympics, and it could work, but then it also could show us something. But with soccer, every year you get at least 4 to 5 exhibition games with your nation, and that gives you more time to develop, to learn, to understand the FIFA rules. Because see, a lot of times when you just assemble a squad, I don't know the FIFA rules. Yeah. It's different. Like sometimes, like they don't know that you can step over the line in a free throw. You don't have to. There's no 3-second rule in the box. Like you can touch the ball right while it's on, right before it hits the tip. It's certain different rules where it's like you're so used to the NBA structure of it, and you can't do that.
My thing is that it's also the youth thing. Like in my opinion, the youth, as far as I've always done the Olympics, the way it works that you will send your youngest talent because they were your best talent. Yeah. In my opinion, basketball should still be like that, just like soccer, where like, hey, this is our upcoming. In my opinion, the way I think it is, it's like under 20.
The young guy we got is 16-year-old kid.
No, I know who you're talking about. That's different because they want that. Basketball is different because see, they've done that for years before '92, and the problem was they didn't dominate. And once Michael Jordan came around, and then the U.S. team,
but you saw that team they brought though.
Yes,
but that's what I'm saying though. It's that the only way it's like that.
Yeah,
but. No, I get that. But what I'm saying though, is the reason it was working back then is because that means the USA was literally playing at a playing labor field with everyone else.
Yes.
You're not bringing all your NBAs. I feel like that should be. But then that's the issue though.
They don't have nothing to prove though. Because it's not that they don't have nothing to prove.
They do have something to prove in my opinion.
It's more or less this.
You can't call yourself world champs when it's not that. But I think that's a good point of why they should care
They don't care because at the end of the day, I make $100 million over there. I make $100 million over there. Why should I care about coming over here to play for $1 million, $5 million over here? Soccer players get paid billions of money, but you know what's the problem? They play for the country. I don't need to play for my country because I know if you came over here and you came to Rucker, I'm going to bust your ass. Whereas over here, I'm like, okay. If we really put our foot down, and that's why I said in the last game against Sudan, even against Germany, they're not showing what they're really capable of. It's more or less an all-star game to the aspect of, yo, it is what it is. But that's gonna smack them. That's gonna smack them in the face. Because even though, and I'm not even 100% sure that they even won the gold the last time, but I'm pretty sure they did, and they won the gold in the World Cup. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day,
the issue is though for a lot of those NBA players is that nobody outside the NBA treats them as champions.
No,
that's what it is.
No.
Is that nobody else? Huh? But that's what I mean. That's why they're here with something to prove. But what I find the issue is that you're only coming here because the world disrespects you. But then you're coming here with this all-star team, but none of them are really from the U.S. No, I agree. But that's what I'm saying. Like, in my opinion, it should be a plain level field no matter what, no matter where you are.
Well,
I think it's gonna get crazy when Luka, for whatever reason, has Siberian nationality and he fucking switches teams over to fucking Siberian teams up with Jokic.
We're not about to do that.
I'm sorry, but Jokic and Luka playing for their national team, they would care so much more than they would here.
They would.
They're gonna play together.
They are gonna play together.
They're gonna play together.
But we're gonna move on because we're running out of time. Now we're gonna finish up the AFC South with predictions of Indiana Colts and the Tennessee Titans. Right now we're gonna do the Colts. They're gonna give me win, no win, final predictions by the end. I want a consensus. I don't want you got 11, you got 9. I want consensus. I will be the record. I will be the tiebreaker for it of the record. All right, we're gonna do the Colts first, okay? And we're gonna scratch what we did with Houston. Okay. We're just gonna go off of this right now.
Uh-huh.
Colts first game of the season, Sunday, 1:00 game. They are playing at home against Houston.
They lose.
Lose? Okay, great. Next game following week at Green Bay, 1:00 game.
They lose.
What you thinking? You thinking they're winning? You saying they're losing? All right. Give me a reason why they're losing.
Green Bay is just still the better team.
Why are they winning?
I just don't think they're a better team.
I'm gonna agree because see, Green Bay is going through a contract issue with Jordan Love, and he's not going to be in training camp all season, for most of the training camp. So by the time he comes back, it's going to be a little rusty. It's the week after.
But you're also hoping that Anthony Richardson's coming back and playing healthy, like he did.
That is also true. But I think it will be one of those games.
That's why I don't think it'll be by game 2 though.
But I'm going to break the tie. So they're 1-1, and I like that only because I do think with the additions with Anthony Richardson, he'll come back. It's a week after Brazil. They might be tired, might be jet lagged, not 100% sure. All right, following week, they're home against Chicago. Right.
Against Chicago? Yeah. That's an L.
You think it's a loss, and you think it's a win? Give me why it's a win. That's a prediction. No, I need a reason. Is it because Caleb? You think Caleb would be on fire by this point, or is it?
I'm not even putting it on Caleb. I think I think the Bears defense is just a bit better. They can hold out against the Colts.
And you said a loss.
I said a loss because the Bears defense is just gonna be better.
I'm gonna go with a win. Because I think you're right with the Bears defense, but I think that offense is gonna be better. So they're 2-1. Following week, home against Pittsburgh, 1:00 game.
Yeah, that's an L.
That's a loss. 2-2. Following week, divisional game at Jacksonville.
At Jackson, it's a
At
loss.
Jacksonville. Loss.
Yeah.
2-3. Following week, they're at Tennessee.
I think that's a win.
That's a win.
Win, but not by that much.
You said an L or you said win?
I said win.
You said win? Okay. So they're 3-3. Then the
Yeah, I
following
could agree with that. If they win, it's not going to be by a lot. Maybe a field goal if they're lucky.
Well, it's a divisional game and it's Tennessee. Following game at home against Miami.
Loss.
Then the following, they go back to Houston, 1:00 game.
Still lost.
Another loss. Think they split here or
I don't think either of those teams split.
loss? So what? They're 3-4. Okay. Then they're at Minnesota.
I could see that a win.
All right, so they're 4-4 right now. They're 4-5. 4-5.
What time is the game?
It's 1:00. Most of their
that's
first 10 games are all 1:00 games.
Oh.
Then they're at home against Buffalo. Lost. 4-6. Following week they're on a Sunday night against the Jets. You think they beat the Jets? I have to disagree with you about it. By that time, I don't think they'll be. I think they'll be teetering. They'll be 4-7. They'll be teetering.
Even then, I think the only player I could say that is going to give the Jets trouble is going to be Taylor.
No, I don't even think that because I think that defensive line for the Jets is going to be crazy. Plus, Sauce is going to be guarding their best wide receiver. Anthony Richardson will have to have a crazy amount of games
Russians
for that.
I just don't see them beating them.
Maybe. We'll see. They're 4-7.
I don't think you're wrong. He definitely has something to prove. I think you're right.
That would be the game.
I just don't think it's
that's their first.
It's going to be the game where they're not expected to win, which shows.
Then it's if that's your case, I'll say the Buffalo one at best. Then
maybe
I'll give them Buffalo if that's got to be. But I don't think it's going to be against.
Well, because these three games because they have Buffalo and the Jets. All right, so they got a loss. They're 4-7 at this point. Then they got another 1:00 game. Then the rest, most of their games are at 1:00. They're playing at home against Detroit. Mm-hmm.
That's a loss.
So they're 4-8. Not bad. Then they got 1:00 game at New England.
That's probably a win.
Win. They're 5-8. On a bye. Then they come back and then they're at Denver. And this is a 4:00 game, only because it's at Denver. That's a win. So they're 6-8.
Honestly, that's probably the biggest hiccup between both teams. Honestly.
Okay. So they're 6-8 at this point, right? Then they got another game, divisional at Tennessee. They're home. 7-8. I'm sorry, they're 6-8 at this point.
Wait, against who?
At Tennessee.
At Tennessee?
Yeah.
It's a win.
You think it's a win? Then they got the Giants. To be determined on time. So it could be a flex.
That's a win.
They're 7-8. No, I'm lying. They're 8-8 at this point. Then the last game, another divisional game, home against Jacksonville. They're 8-8 at this point. Y'all basically gave them 4 straight wins after the debacle with Detroit.
They're not beating Jacksonville. I just don't know.
That's a loss?
Yeah.
They're going to have a good line, but they're not.
I don't think they beat Jacksonville. I guess it also depends on what Jacksonville comes out or what Etienne is there.
Okay.
But I still don't think they beat them.
Which isn't bad. I don't think that's a bad record for them. 8-9. I could see them.
I don't agree with that record though.
Or 9-8.
I think there's more losses.
So basically, their ceiling is. I'll cap it off at this. Over under 9 wins.
I'm going under.
You're going under.
Under 9.
Under 9. Okay, we'll see. Next, we're going to do is Tennessee. I think they're going to get 5, more than 5 as well. Right. So now
I don't disagree with that, but I don't think they have that good of a record. I think it's going to be looking a little bit worse than that.
Okay.
I think they're hitting double-digit losses.
So maybe 7-10.
6-11. You could honestly
6 or 7. I see that. Okay, but I capped them off
I think it's
at
just
9.
I know what he was talking about, but I think those 2 first games are just L's for them. Only because Anthony Richardson could come back perfectly fine, but most of the time, most rookies come back with a little bit more chip on their shoulder, and it causes them.
Yeah, he
Which
did.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just saying it's the injury coming back. Most rookies, just from what we've seen on TV, they always put more pressure on themselves to perform off the bat good.
Okay.
I think that's what's going to cost them.
We'll see. We'll see. Moving on to the final, and we're going to end it out with Tennessee. First game, they are at Chicago, 1:00 game.
That's a loss.
That's a loss.
That's a loss.
They're not going to lose by that much.
Because it's the first game for Chicago, and it's home. Chicago's got to win.
Okay.
They're not going to lose by that much.
Following game at
I
home.
think they will.
The following game. Wait, so y'all saying they're losing to Chicago?
Yes, they're losing to Chicago.
Okay.
You think Tennessee's
I don't know.
losing?
I don't know because it's Chicago. I don't know what Caleb is going to look like. But
I get that. Which I don't disagree with that, but I just think I still think it's a win. I don't think he's going to win.
Defense is going to win.
It's not even the defense. I just think the weapons around Caleb are just so good that.
We'll see. All right. So
Not ultimate bailout, but DJ Moore don't require that much.
Well, to be fair, they have DJ Moore, they have Swift, they have
Keenan Allen. They have a lot of weapons.
Keenan. But what's the
from Washington?
Is it Romeo? No, not Romeo.
His name is Romeo. I can't remember his last name. Uzier or something.
Uzier, yeah.
And Cat. So
that's what I mean. I don't think it might be a Caleb Williams for a 200-yard show. I think it's going to be, hey, his players around him played really well. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We're going to talk about Chicago on the next.
But the only play I disagree with Malik, though, I think it's going to be more of a blowout for Chicago.
We'll get to the next one. All right. I know that because Chicago is interesting with y'all. I don't know. All right. So they're 0-1. Next game, they're playing the Jets, 1:00 at home.
I'm giving it to the Jets.
You're giving it to the Jets, so they're 0-2. Following week, they got
what? 0-2.
Yeah, 0-2. They lost to the Jets.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking this is the Bears for a second. This is Tennessee.
You got confused.
No, it's still
we're talking
still
about
a loss.
the Bears, so it's lost.
Still
0-2. So the week 3, they're playing Green Bay, 1:00.
That's a loss.
What's a loss? You got them winning against Green Bay? Give me a reason.
I think they're going to add them 2 losses. They're going to bounce back.
You think they bounce back?
They're not bouncing back against Green Bay.
I don't think they'll be in Green Bay because I think Will Levis has to prove at this point if they don't beat Chicago week 1, they're not beating Green Bay week 2. I mean Jets week 2, and you're playing Green Bay week 3. If he's not showing out by that time,
those are just 3 hard games for Tennessee.
Will Levis will get back by that time. We'll see. All right, so they're 0-3. I think at this point they're 0-3. They're pretty much reeling. They have a Monday night game, 7:30 at Miami.
At Miami against Miami, it's a loss.
They're
0-4.
0-4. Yep. Bye week 5. Then they come back and they face the Colts. You saying win? I think y'all gave them the win on the last one.
Yeah, we give it.
So they're 1-4. Then they got Buffalo, 1:00.
At Buffalo?
At Buffalo.
Yeah, that's a loss.
That's a loss.
What month?
October.
That's a no.
So it might be a little cold. So they're 1-5. Then they come back and then they're away again at Detroit.
No, if I'm not picking the Colts to beat Detroit, I'm not picking the Tennessee to pick Detroit. No, that's an L.
That's an L? You think they beating Detroit?
Yeah, I think it's Will Levis. It's going to.
I can't agree with you because they're at Detroit. I think at this point they're looking at Will Levis and they're like, I don't know if we got the guy. Anything can happen. So they're 1-6. Then they got New England.
Yeah, that's a win.
That's a win. They're 2-6. Then they go to the Chargers at Chargers.
That could be a hard one, but I think that's an L.
What you thinking? Mm-hmm. But it's Jim Harbaugh.
Justin Herbert. Their defense is still solid. They still
Defense
have.
is good? Defense will be solid. And that's a loss? Okay.
Yeah, I'm giving the Chargers a
I'll give it
W.
You giving the Chargers a W?
Yeah.
You giving the Chargers a W. All right, so they're two. So they're only beating the Colts and they beating New England. From what y'all said. So they're 2-7 at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Yep, they're 2-7 at this point. And then they come back and then they're home against Minnesota.
They can win that one.
Win that one? Okay,
Yeah.
they're 3-7. Then they go to Houston. Y'all said that's a loss.
That's a
already in the
loss.
last one. So they're 3-8 at this point. Then they got Washington at Washington.
They can win that one. They can win that one.
They could win that one.
They're 4-8.
No.
No,
I think that's an L.
and that's an L.
I think once you really start remembering the names on Washington's team,
Yeah,
it kind of.
scary. Don't be acting scary. You start being scary.
I'm gonna give them an L too because I think Washington will probably either finding their footing or this could be one of those weird weekends where it's like, ugh, you know. So right now they're 3-9. No, they're 4-9 because I gave them no, they're 3-9.
They're 3-9.
3-9.
He gave them the W at Detroit. I didn't.
I broke that. So then they got Jacksonville.
I said it now last time. I think I'm
L,
gonna say it
what
now.
you think
Again.
of Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville's rolling by the time.
They're 3-10.
Yeah.
This could be a blowout. Not a blowout, but a massacre season for Tennessee. Then they got Cincinnati at home. Are we going to say a win? No. This is the first double-digit loss. So it's 10.
Yeah. At Cincinnati now.
Then they finish out with 3 straight divisional games, 2 away, 1 at home. The first divisional game is at the Colts. What you thinking? Are they splitting or are they another L?
But that's the next. I say the Colts taking the last one.
Yes.
Yeah, they're Colts taking the last one.
Yeah, I'll give them the win at home, but not the last one.
So they're 4-11 at Jacksonville.
They lost. No, I just don't. Unless the only way they win this one is if Jacksonville doesn't need to win this game.
What you thinking?
I think that's the only way Jacksonville loses. If they don't need to win this game, then they can play their
So it's a loss.
yeah. But I think it's a loss if it's
So they're 4-12, right? They're 4-12,
They could possibly get 6 wins. Between 4 and 6 wins.
and then they're at home against Houston.
nah, that's an L.
4. You think so? I'll tell you why. I'll give them the win because Houston at that time has the division locked up.
If that's what we're going off, then yeah, I agree. But if that's only if that's what we're going off. That's the reason I didn't give them the win at Jacksonville. It's because I said if they don't need the game, it's a win. But if it's not, if all starters are playing, I think it's going to be Houston. That's what I mean. Like if we're talking about hey, Houston already won, then yeah, I agree with you guys. They'll win it. But if it's one of those where like hey, they didn't win, I'm sorry. I just don't see them beating them.
Only reason if Houston plays is because if they're playing for a number 1 seed.
That's what I mean. If
the
Houston
number 1
is
seed-
playing to play, then they're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Houston?
That's the only reason I didn't go with that with Jacksonville.
Yeah, is Houston playing for a 1 seed or a 2 seed? And if they need to win, then Tennessee's losing. So basically, Tennessee is the bottom feeder. They'll probably have a top 5 pick, depending on. Well,
but they're not a bottom feeder because they're bad. They're just a bottom feeder because, to be fair, they have a hard schedule and their division is hard because of the teams they have.
They're in the midst of a rebuild. Technically.
Yeah,
they have a new coach, a quarterback that will be starting for the full season. Not that many weapons at the moment.
Mm.
We'll see what happens. Defense is still good, but like you said, schedule is a little bit hard. All right, you have Jets, Cincinnati, Buffalo.
I mean,
Detroit.
The first 3 games are pretty hard too.
I know, and those are the only ones. I'm only mentioning the top tier teams because those.
I mean, you got to see where we started giving them their first wins, and their first wins were against the only teams we saw as like low tier, as
tier.
New England, Minnesota, Denver.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll start because y'all next time when we're gonna do the schedule breakdown and predictions, we're gonna go to the NFC North, and the first team is gonna be Chicago because y'all were very animated with Chicago when they came up a couple of times. So I don't know. It's going to be
I
interesting.
feel like you should have Lalo here, not me.
Lalo might come in. I might bring Lalo because he's the resident Chicago Bears fan, and we'll see how he feels about it.
It's not going to be hard for Caleb Williams to fuck up.
We'll
See,
see.
I feel like we're not here saying it's going to be a Caleb Williams show. We're saying that the weapons around him are going to make it a Caleb Williams show.
But
a good game manager.
We'll see.
A great game manager.
But that's why. But that's why.
Okay, Kim.
That's why we're going to see what the schedule breaks down for him to look like.
He's a big Brock Purdy.
We'll see. Guys, great show today. Again, I keep saying guys, I gotta get, I'm sorry to y'all, to the audience, to the people.
Humans.
Thank y'all for joining us again. It's
They,
been
them.
awesome as always. Like, subscribe, support, share. Guys, if you like us, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your cousin, tell your little, your little shorty on the side, tell your man on the side, tell your man's man. Let us know. Give us some support. Get us up to
Your man's man.
Get us up to 100 subscribers soon, maybe soon.
How many do we have?
We could get some. We have a few. I'm not gonna let that number come out just now. Yeah, we could have some special guests coming up. Maybe some merch.
Hugh Jackman.
We'll see. Again, next week, be aware. We're gonna do open spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine. We will watch the movie. Some of us legally, others illegally. We'll see.
It's just a different route.
The fire stick is illegal, but it's a good. All right, whatever. We'll see.
All up in my pot, don't even know myself.
Whatever. Malik, Manny, I'm Will. Thank you for joining us at the Will Ray Show. Check us out. We'll soon be on Spotify as well. Check that out. And thanks again. We'll see you later.